Scorching conditions leading to the hottest day on Earth this week. The global average temperature breaking a record Monday, then climbing even higher Tuesday and remain there Wednesday.
It is hot as hell in this funky ass, hot ass room I'm in.
Man, it is hot today. Whoa, it's hot out here, man. It is hot today.
You know it's hot out.
Yeah, I just said that. I said it's hot out here, man.
Yeah, you know it's hot too.
Yeah, that's why I said it, man. It is hot out here.
I know, I'm just saying it's hot too.
Temperatures are up there, and it's hot in Topeka.
It's hot. Hot, hot. Hot, hot, hot. Hot, 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 hot. It's hot in Topeka.
Oh, Topeka, I feel your pain. It is hot. But not as hot as Ego and Vice. This is episode 108. Stick around. It's gonna be a scorcher.
You've got a real attitude problem, McFly. You're a slacker.
Born and raised in South Bay, lower class punk ass, I was Northwood grade. I had it made. Spent my nights drinking with my mates. Just a short bus ride up to PA. Red River Red. Then I hit the wall and I knew I had to bounce. They still say that 19 years ago. Hell, I got the hell out. From time to time you may see me hanging around. Now I feel like a stranger in this town. Crocs and Rolls is where I learned to play. Westwood Tavern's where I learned to.
Hey, yo, yo, yo. This is Mike. This is Ego and Vice. This is episode 108. I hope everyone is doing well out there. I know it's super hot again. It's like September, 5th or something. And just when you're getting ready, getting ready to put the winter tires back on the car, we get hit by the fucking heat wave, which is nice, I guess, if you don't have to work outside or if you don't have to spend a ton of time outside, or, if you get trapped outside, that would be awful. I've been going on bike rides. I put on like my shorts and a tank top and a backpack, and I go for a rip on the bike. It's hot, but it's nice. I don't mind the smashing heat. It's funny, when I work, I hate it. When I'm at home and I'm hot, I hate it. But when I'm out on a bike, I feel better about it. Anyway, cool. So stay safe, I guess. I guess the temperatures are pretty high, pretty bad for some people. But stay safe and stay cool and drink lots of water, I guess. Avoid coffee and like booze. Who am I? Well, who am I? Dr. Phil? Hey, I got a question. Are video podcasts like the worst TV ever? Like two people's heads in two separate parts of the screen just talking for an hour? I don't know. I feel like podcasts, they're like, I guess if you're like, I bring this up all the time, but I guess if you're like Joe Rogan and you have the budget, yeah, I guess it could look good, but like just any old random podcast is a video podcast. I thought the whole idea was radio. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm old school. I like Ego and Vice as an audio show, because I've seen like the video podcasts, and it's literally like two big giant heads just sitting there on the screen for an hour. It's like I don't see why you would watch that. Like, has anyone ever sat through an entire video podcast and went, "Oh my God, this is compelling"? Did you see that? Did you see his eyebrow? His eyebrow went up. He means it. I don't know. It just seems like a waste of time. I don't know. Waste of resource, waste of time and money, I guess. I think the charm of a podcast is because it is audio. That's all it is. You don't need to see my giant head floating across your screen for an hour, literally not doing anything. I don't know. I thought podcasts were something that you throw in and you throw in the car stereo or in your buds, your earbuds. And today, you know, like I went for a bike ride. You throw it in and you listen. Like, I don't need to see what's going on. I don't need to see people sitting in a chair. Anyway, old man yells at cloud. What do you think? I guess if you had the option of like audio or video. But it seems like, you know, I put so much effort into like editing and making this show kind of unique. And then I'd have to, you know, put all the effort into the video as well. But it's like a throwaway because people only watch like clips and 5 minutes of it. It's just like, it seems like a big fat waste of time. Anyway, I don't know. I just find they all look the same too, right? When you introduce the video, you completely lose, it immediately loses its uniqueness and it just becomes bad television. It's like you set out to put your best foot forward for the guest that's on, and then you have them sitting there in some poorly lit, bad audio, bad video kind of presentation where it's like, oh yeah, our podcast is going to look really pro because we have like audio and video, but the presentation looks like budget. How does that help your guest? You know, it kind of doesn't. And they say, well, it's all about content. You know, it helps the guest by for more exposure on audio and video. How does it help a guest when your video looks like garbage? Rewind that back too. And when it comes to audio, it's like, yeah, your presentation can look slick as fuck. But the main thing about a podcast is that it's easy to listen to, right? Levels aren't all fucked up. It's like, go back and edit your podcast and fix your levels. Like, do something. Like, you get the super loud host, hey, this is that, blah blah, and the guest is like minute. I'm driving down the street and you gotta turn the car volume up and down. It's like, put some effort into it. If not to just make your show look pro, but for the presentation of the guest that is kind of counting on you to make them not sound and look like an asshole. Maybe it comes across as kind of dickish, but I'm just saying. I've been doing this podcast for 6.5 years. And my main goal has always been to put the guest first and make sure that they're happy with the product in the end. Because they put their trust in me to make them not look stupid. And I hope I haven't. Because I don't think I do. Because I put a lot of pride into what I do for them. I guess the main thing is just, you know, stay in your lane and don't pretend to be something bigger than you are. Because it's quality over quantity. That's my opinion, anyway. Whoa. Don't know where all that came from, but let's move on, shall we? On the podcast today, I have a local musician, singer-songwriter, producer, business owner. She goes by the name of Oddeline. I came across Oddeline through word of mouth, and then I checked her stuff out on social media and on Spotify, and I thought it was awesome. So, as the podcast goes, I called her up and I asked her if she wanted to have a conversation. She said yes, and we had a good one. She'll tell you all about it. The first song I heard from her on Spotify was a song called River, and I'm going to play that song right now, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk to Oddeline, and she'll tell you all about what she's got going on. Anyway, this is Oddeline. This is a song called River. This is Ego and Vice, episode 108.
Take me back to the river, 'cause the river ain't feeling no shame. Let me ride your waves tonight, get lost in your swaying tide. Let me wake in the river, see it reflect in the morning light. Everybody saying how the water drags you down, and oh, they cry. We're so glad you've come around, 'cause if you fall for the water, you're fated to drown. Take me back to the river, 'cause the river is running free. Take me back to the river, I don't care if I'm washed out to sea. I'll ride its waves into the night, get lost in its swaying tide. Then I'll wake in the river, see it reflect in the morning light. Drowned out in the sound of everybody saying how the water drags you down, and oh, they cry. We're so glad you've come around, 'cause if you fall for the water, you're fated to drown. I'm taking you down. I don't really care if I'm fated to drown, 'cause I'd rather be sinking than deaf to the sound of the water cascading, flooding the ground.
Hey, welcome back. This is Ego and Vice. This is episode 108. As promised, on the show today, my guest is a singer-songwriter, a musician, a producer, an engineer, and a business owner. And her name is Oddeline. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for being on.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat with you.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. We don't know each other very well, so I'll start here. I discovered your music through word of mouth. And then I was checking out some stuff on social media, and I ended up on Spotify. and I listened to some of the tunes that are on there. And in 2021, you released an EP called Fated to Drown.
Fated to Drown, yeah.
And on that EP, the first song I listened to was a song called River, which I thought was lovely.
Thank you.
And I said, got to talk to this person. So, are you originally from Ottawa?
Yes, yeah, born and raised.
Okay.
I grew up in Canada, and now I live in Centertown.
Oh,
so.
Well, as most starving artists do, I suppose. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems to be the place for it.
All right. And from a young age, I guess, have you always been into music? Like, can you talk about your earliest memories of music in your life?
That's honestly a little bit tough because it was like very, very early on. Like I was singing before I have memories, like as long as I can remember, I've been singing. Like as a little kid, I would just like go out in my backyard and sing. And I had like a notebook before I could write like any words that I would say I was writing songs, and I'd be just scribbling in the notebook. Like my mom still has it. And I'd go to my mom with the scribbles and like sing her a song I had written when I was like 3 years old, which is pretty funny. So those are some early memories. And then like piano lessons.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you come from a like a musical background? Is there music in your family, or was it just something that just one day?
Not really. Like there was like my mom plays a lot of like recorded music. Like she really likes music. And my granddad on my mom's side like played guitar and harmonica and stuff, but he lived in Newfoundland, so I didn't see him that often. And yeah, I don't know, it was just something that like for whatever reason really resonated with me, and I just became obsessed with it very, very early in life.
I kind of have the same thing. I had a few family members that played music, but I was too young to kind of really realize what it was, but I knew it was always there. But there was always like music on in the house and stuff, and we used to take like family vacations, and well, like I said, I'm older, so we didn't have like Spotify and Sirius XFM and stuff like that. So as soon as you left like the city limits, you'd get like static on the radio, so you'd put in like the tape or something, and you'd have to listen. I remember we listened to the Eagles on like repeat for like 8 hours once. I still have trouble listening to the Eagles. Anyway.
Yeah, I have so again, like I have family in Newfoundland, and doing drives to Newfoundland like 3 days in the car with the family, just spinning CDs the whole time that were like mixes my mom and dad had made.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Definitely similar memories, yeah.
Yeah. I have fond memories of a Corey Hart record called Young Man Running. It was later on in I think it was like maybe the early 90s. I don't know, but it was that one got stuck on repeat as well, and I like know every song. I went to the flea market, or not flea market, but I guess so, the farmers market flea market at Lansdowne. And I actually found the vinyl of that Corey Hart.
No way.
I was so happy too. I was like, I gotta get this, and I'm like, I can't believe this. I can't believe this is here. Anyway, it's not like this rare record either. It's just like for me, it was just like this huge moment. Like, wow. Anyway, so as you wrote songs, do you remember the very first song you wrote? Do you remember what it was called? First real song, I guess. Which had a start, beginning, and ending.
Yeah, not the ones when I was before I could write. Oh wow. Strangely, this isn't a question that I've been asked before.
No.
I haven't thought about it. I think I was probably like, I'm not sure exactly what was first, but I was probably like 14 or something, and I started writing, and I like finished a couple things, and I was just, I don't know, I honestly, like, it was, my mom is really into like 70s singer-songwriter stuff, and so there were certain like Paul Simon and certain Gordon Lightfoot songs that I heard as a kid that just, and one was like If You Could Read My Mind by Gordon Lightfoot, and then the Paul Simon one that I remember just like really hitting me is like I Do It For Your Love from the Still Crazy After All These Years album. That one's like a little less well known, but I just remember as a kid like hearing those songs and thinking like, oh my God, like someone made this, like this came out of someone's brain. And that was just like crazy. And I was like, I want to do that like more than anything else, that's what I want to do. And so then like as a young teenager, I started like seriously trying to write songs. And it probably took like a solid 2 years of writing before I had something that I actually thought like, this is good. Like this is something that I could do and I'm good at it. And that was River actually.
Wow.
When I was like 16, yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, like I said, that was the first song I heard from you, and like I said, it was lovely. The level of songwriting is actually quite. If you wrote that when you were 16, it's pretty impressive because the songwriting is very mature sounding. I won't say that's a bad word. It's very it's very seasoned sounding. How's that?
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't think that was somebody's first song, but amazing.
Well, but it was my first song that I felt was good, and I was comparing myself to like Paul Simon, right? Like I was holding myself to a pretty high standard as a teenager.
We are our worst critics, right?
There were lots of like completely horrible / not horrible, but definitely not as sophisticated songs that came before, which you'll just never.
Fair enough. But
see.
It was all a means to an end. You got River out of it. Have you always, when you used to write though, did you always write with an instrument, or did you just write? Yeah. What was your first instrument that you actually kind of picked up and played? I know you said you played piano.
Yeah, I played piano. I started when I was like 6 or 7, and I played up until the end of high school, like taking lessons, but I never really wrote on piano. I started writing when I was teaching myself to play the guitar.
Okay.
And almost everything I've written, except like the only thing that I perform ever that I wrote on piano is like Orchards, which was on the record. If you remember that one.
Yeah.
Orchards, that one was written on
Eden,
piano.
Daughter.
Yeah, everything else is on guitar.
For guitar, that was my next question. Were you self-taught on guitar? I was self-taught on guitar. I picked it up like everyone else, where it's you just pick it up and you start doing just the one string, ding, 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 and you kind of work your way down, and then before you know it, you have something going on, right?
Yeah.
You know. Do you?
Yeah, I had a. Sorry, go ahead.
No, please.
Oh, I was just gonna say I had like I said, a very extensive like education in piano. By the time I picked up guitar. And I taught myself by learning every song on the first Hozier album. That was how I learned guitar.
I think stories like that are so cool. Being self-taught on an instrument, I think, is like, for me, like I've always considered myself like I've been playing guitar like more than half my life, and I'm still like the sloppiest guitar player there is. Like I have no grace. I can't sit down and pluck like a wonderful little ballad that people will like get all captivated by. But the rough around the edge is self-taught. Like I can't read music, but it kind of works for the music I write. You know, I always say nobody can play my songs better than me. You know what I mean? So, So even if they are a little chunky and a little, that's what it is, right? Piano though is a big one for me. You said you've taken piano and you've had extensive training in piano, which I'm super envious of, because when I was a kid, my mom put me in piano lessons. I kicked and screamed. I didn't want to do it. I think I did it for about a year, and then she finally let me quit. And now, all these years later, I love piano. I've been trying to teach myself how to play, and if I just would have stayed with it from then till now, like I would give up everything I know on guitar right now to know as much on piano. Do you know what I mean?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I do think it would be, I mean, maybe this is just because piano like is like writing, or like, it's like English for me. Like I learned it at such a young age that it's pretty like naturalized into me.
Yeah.
But I think that it would be harder to teach yourself piano than it is guitar. Like I feel like it's less, like it comes a bit less naturally.
I can absolutely stand by that, because I've basically been trying to teach myself both. Like I've been playing guitar for long enough. I know my way around it. Piano is just, how to split the brain and do the different parts is I don't get it, right? I don't know. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. Yet I do it on guitar, so I don't know. It's two different animals, eh? So what are you gonna do? Is there an instrument out there? Is that the extent of it? Piano and guitar, or are you a multi-instrumentalist? You seem like a very talented person, so.
For the most part, yeah, it's just piano and guitar. I've like dabbled in some other things, but. Yeah.
What if you had a choice of like one more that you would be as good at as like piano or guitar? What do you think it would be?
Do I get to skip the learning process?
Yeah, just overnight and just wake up.
If I could do it overnight, it'd probably be cello.
Cello, very good.
Yeah,
that would totally add
cello.
that adds like all that ambient loveliness to songs too. That cello in the background. Yeah, it'd be a one-man band. Yeah. So once you had the songs together, and when did you start performing? Like
so that's kind of been like a whole thing. I started like performing my original songs when I started university, I guess. I studied music at Carleton, and when I went into music, I started gigging a bit. And then I started a little duo with a friend of mine from high school who is the like lead guitar player on the record too. His name's Ryan. He's wonderful. So yeah, that was in like 2017. We started playing some duo shows, and then about a year later, I formed a band. So we added bass and drums to that, which lasted until this timeline isn't quite right, but I was in like the band lasted for not quite a year, maybe like 9 months kind of thing. And then I took the project solo, and then sort of by coincidence the pandemic happened right around the same time. And then I taught myself to produce and record, and then I made the record. So it was kind of like this, and all the songs on that record were like not like new songs. They were songs that like were with me for a lot of that whole process of like being played by myself, and then as a duo, and then as a band, and then kind of me being able to incorporate all of those different lives that those songs lived with like new ideas that I had into the productions that are on the EP.
I remember eating the light on the river. No people to please, no news to deliver. I remember you were just a child. What you said was true, pure green and wild. Now the vision's faded, replaced by concrete and steel. It gets me so frustrated. I see you in your suit and I can't say how I feel. You look different in Eden. You didn't look like this. Your eyes were different in Eden. You never looked at me like this. It makes no sense, and there's no explanation. see is concrete and steel. It's got me so damn jaded. The mirror shows youth, but that's not what I feel. You look different in Eden. You didn't look like that. You were different in Eden. You never treated me like that. You never looked. You never
the record? Did you record it? Like that's all done by you as well? Oh wow, amazing! I was gonna ask you where you had it done, but
In my parents' basement.
that's the best, right? Super DIY. I love it.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, it was so fun. It was like, I still, like, looking back on that, I'm like, wow, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
Especially in the pandemic. I was just like, I'll go crazy if I don't do something. I guess I'll do this.
100%. And I always say, like, the pandemic, the one good thing it gave everyone all this time, especially creative people, gave them so much time to create, right? Because there was nothing else to do. So you either sat at home and you wrote songs, or you taught yourself how to record music, which is amazing. And I love today's like technology too, where it's just like you can do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can buy some software or whatever, and then you can just kind of figure it out and make it sound. It doesn't have to sound like you spent like $20,000 at some studio.
I honestly, I didn't want it to sound like that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because I did work with like a very like high quality producer before, like when I was with the band, and I just like didn't love the sound of it. But then like the music that I listened to was a lot of like British folk music from the 60s or like indie bands like the Smiths, and like none of that is going to be, it's not glossy like expensive sounding music, you know? So that's not really what I want anyway. And then also I can like sustain a reasonable lifestyle and still record, and I'm not throwing all my money at that, which is always a good thing.
That's 100%. You know what I mean? You have the ability to record it yourself, make it sound good. It's good to you. It's how you want it to sound. No one's going to tell you to, oh, we should do this, turn this up, turn that. Produce it yourself, and it's it. It's done. And it's so easy to release music too. And you know, you get a distributor, like a CD Baby or something like that, and they do it for you. What is it, like $9 a record or something like that?
Yeah,
it's insane. It's insane, and it goes everywhere. Spotify, Apple, YouTube, everywhere, just like that.
They don't make people listen to it, unfortunately.
Yeah. You can't. That's the one thing they don't do, eh? It's like we can't promise anyone's gonna listen to it, but it's gonna be everywhere, right?
But if they want to, they can.
Yeah. What an amazing age to be creative and have the ambition to do it, or the initiative to do it, to write, to play, to record, and to release your own music like you're your own record label. Wow. Anyway, so yeah, I think you touched on it a little bit. What are your, just listening to the record, like I said, it seems very like a seasoned. It's lovely, and it's sad, and it's happy, and it has a wonderful melancholy feel at times. You touched on some of your influences. What's the total package of like your day when you listen to music, your playlists and that? What makes you happy? What makes you sad? What's your go-tos?
That could be pretty extensive, but I'll try to keep it brief. With that record, it's like it evolves a little bit, because I do like I find things and I like dive into them, and I really want to listen to them over and over again. And then, you know, like eventually you gotta find another thing, and I'll I sometimes find music because I was like researching things, and I like find it through research. But I'd say like stuff that's consistent is, yeah, like folk music from the 60s. So like obvious ones like Bob Dylan. I mentioned Paul Simon. Some Joni Mitchell for sure. But like my real like number one love in the past like close to 5 years really musically has been like British kind of lesser known folk singers songwriters, well lesser known like mainstream, like people who are really into music know them, like Nick Drake, John Martin, Fairport Convention, Vashti Bunyan, like Donovan, people like that. That's like my like I would say my biggest influence. And then mixed up in that is, yeah, like some indie rock, and like I also really like I don't know, alternative art rock, I don't know what to call them, but stuff like I love Kate Bush, the Velvet Underground, Roxy Music, people like that.
Yeah, those are some heavy hitters when it comes to just like respectable songwriters, real like music. There's no pretension there. There's no fake.
Yeah.
There's
exactly.
no Hollywood there. It's all about music and songwriting, right?
Yeah.
And the feel and the lifestyle about it. I appreciate that. I respect that a lot. Like a lot of the names, some of the names I wasn't sure of what you said, but I trust your judgment, because the ones you did, the ones you did say, amazing. And I respect that just that outlook on music too. It's like it doesn't have to be that flashy big hit. It's just like find something that's real and sounds great, and and moves you and does something to you, and that's the best stuff. It really is, because you can tell it came from a genuine place. It wasn't written for $1. It wasn't written for hits and likes. It was written to be written. It was written because it had to be written, and that's great. Are you still writing? Like, do you have anything else coming out? Are you going to record your? Would it be your second album? What do they call that? A sophomore? I don't know.
My sophomore record.
Is that what it's called? The second one, the sophomore? I don't know.
It is, yeah.
That's some showbiz talk right there.
Yeah. You'll have to use that in a press release.
Yeah. The sophomore release.
Yeah. I am a good bit of the way through recording my sophomore record, actually. Which is this time co-produced. Me and my friend Ben Kistner, who I run a production company with called Sounds Odd Records.
Sounds Odd Records.
Yeah. So we're producing my upcoming record together, which has been really fun. It's like I loved producing by myself. It was really great, and I'm so glad that I did that, and I'll definitely do that again. But having someone to collaborate with, especially where like we have a lot of overlapping tastes, but then also some like different things too. So we like are bringing different ideas, and just like someone to bounce ideas off of. Like I feel like it's a lot easier to take risks in creative ideas when you can say an idea and you have another person to say either like that is a terrible idea or no, that's great, we can make this work, let's do it,
Yeah.
Whereas when you're by yourself, you kind of just are like,
you're left to your own devices. Yeah. It's nice to have someone to kind of yank on the leash a little bit and be like, whoa, hang on a second here. Yeah.
Well, I honestly mean in the opposite direction, actually. I feel like I feel less restrained because like things like my next record, I have songs that have strings on them, which is something that part of it is that I did already record a record, so I'm a little more ambitious, but it's definitely easier to do things that feel more ambitious when you have someone else saying like, yes, we can do it, let's make it work.
Oh, I see. Okay, it's more of like and also give you ideas of stuff you'd never thought of. That would sound good. Do you have any release dates for that, or you're just kind of a work in progress? You're just kind of
work in progress.
All right. How has the summer of 2023 been? Have you been very busy? You've been playing a lot of shows?
I haven't been playing a whole lot of shows. I played maybe like 3 over the summer. But I have been pretty busy with studio sessions for my stuff, and then I'm also now producing for a couple other artists. And then with Sounds Odd, we've had events, and we also have a video series, like a live sessions on YouTube. So I had a lot of things to keep me busy both in like the Oddeline project and then with the company. Yeah. So it was definitely a good summer. It went by way too quickly. I didn't get to swim in as many lakes as I would have liked, but
Yeah, summer goes by so fast.
yeah.
And then it's winter, and it's Canada, and it's cold. That's way she goes, I guess. Anyway, so with your music, with your production company, with producing new artists, where do you hope to see your career go? Like, what would you like to do from here on in?
Honestly, I don't hold too many specific expectations. I feel like even though I haven't been doing this for really that long and I haven't done that much, I've already learned that you don't really know what's coming for you. And but yeah, I guess keep making records when I have songs that I want to release and writing songs when I have something to say. And I'd love to like play outside of Ottawa a little more. That's something that I'm setting up for this year. Playing some out of town shows, meeting lots of interesting people through shows, and working on productions as well. Like producing more is definitely something I want to do. And other than that, yeah, I mean, I'm not really the most ambitious person in the world. I just
roll
want to
with
be
it.
enjoying what I'm doing. Yeah, and if it feels like meaningful and fun and I'm having a good time, then I'm pretty happy.
Well, I think that's great. I think music is one of those things that it's not gonna go away, like inside
definitely.
someone, right? So even if it's like having that old friend that you don't see for 20 years, but then you see each other and it's like no time has passed.
Yeah.
And certain things you can't force. Music just has to kind of happen. So even if you have other things on the go, it's always going to be there to kind of fall back on or jump right into, and it'll be like you never left. So, and what you've done so far is very impressive, and I think everybody should check it out. I'm going to add links to the podcast when I actually post it. And thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thanks again for reaching out. This was fun. It was a good conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Great conversation. Well, good luck with everything, and all the best. And I look forward to the next record. And in the meantime, I guess sky's the limit.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks again.
No, thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Sorry for being an imperfect daughter. I'm not handing out flowers like Ophelia before she jumped in the water. No, I wouldn't let them off that easy. My mind's been taken over by this independence disease, and I don't have time for pretending that I'm sorry for leaving, though it might have been wrong. I just can't keep believing that I would change when I've been here for so long. Now I know 20 years is no lifetime. I surely haven't seen enough to know what's right, and I don't have time for pretending. No. just wanna see your soul. 'Cause every inch of this life we're chained to is holy. And if you could only see it, you'd send out yourself and never wanna retrieve it. And you'd have no time for all I pretended. No. Handing out flowers like Ophelia before she jumped in the water.
I'd like to thank Oddeline for being on the podcast. It was a fun conversation. Really talented person. I recommend trying to find her tunes online, or follow the links that I'm going to put on the podcast and check it out. If you need to get a hold of me, you can always reach me at egoandvice@gmail.com. To listen to the podcast, you can go to Podomatic, my host, but you'll probably go to Spotify, Deezer, Google, Apple, all those fun places. In the meantime, try and stay cool, because it's hot out there. Drink some water. And eat some fruit. How's that? Anyway, this is Mike, Ego and Vice. We'll be back. Anyway, see you next time.
You've got a real attitude problem, McFly. You're a slacker.